Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I was going to record a vlog for you guys, and I did start in the morning. I did, but I feel like it's so boring. Like, honestly, like, I was getting bored of it, so I'm pretty sure you guys would get bored. So what I was thinking of doing instead was to tell you guys my whole delivery story of having my daughter Samantha. So yeah, I want to tell you guys about how it went down,
the pain, the crying, the yelling, how it all went down.
As you all know, my sweet little girl, my daughter Samantha was born on the 22nd of November. She is now a month old. So yeah, she's getting big already. I don't understand. I don't understand. When she was born, she weighed 7 pounds, 7.4 something pounds, and she was 19 inches long. So let's just start when I started getting contractions, okay? Let's just start there. On the 21st in the morning, like mid-afternoon, me and my husband and my daughter has just woken up for the day. And I told my husband I was like feeling some cramping, like kind of like the slightest cramping ever, but it wasn't so bad. So we went about our day, we went out, and I was still feeling them, but they weren't so bad. It was just like whatever. So I was like, okay, these are contractions. And I told him, like, and when we got home, I was like, do you think we should tell your mom? And he's all like, what do you think? Because the whole plan was, when I started contracting that, we were supposed to tell her so she can come down here to Oceanside, so she could be here to help out, like to be here for the birth of the baby and whatnot and whatnot. We ended up telling her, and immediately she wanted to come down already. So that's what ended up happening. And then I actually ended up telling my mom also, and she ended up coming down here with my mother-in-law, so that just worked out perfectly fine. And she came with my sister and my brother also. They got here like at nighttime. They got here like around 10 p.m. We went to go pick them up, and my contractions actually by that time were pretty like not intense. They were starting to gradually get worse and worse and worse. By that time I could actually feel them. These felt like period cramps, but just a bit more worse. Before I end this day, the 21st, I actually had called during the day to ask them if I should go to the Naval Hospital and everything. And they said no. They said no. They said that they don't need me to go in unless I'm contracting really, really bad. And all that jazz. So I was like, okay, fine, that's fine, that's fine. So we go on to the next day. I woke up in the morning and I was starting to feel them a bit more. Like they were a lot worse than yesterday. So than the other day. So they were picking up. They hurt, Samantha. They hurt like a bitch. So I called the Naval Hospital again. And I told them, hey, like, I started my contractions yesterday around mid-afternoon, and right now they're starting to get a little bit worse. And they told me, like, how bad are they? Like, can you handle them, or are, like, they really, really bad? And I was like, they're there, like, they're not so bad. And the nurse was like, yeah, we don't want you to come in unless you feel like you can't breathe, that your lower back hurts, that you can't walk. And I was like, you guys want me to be dying. That's what I'm hearing right now. You guys want me to, like, be partially dead at the hospital. And she's all like, yeah, we usually don't get a room for people yet unless they're open 6 centimeters. And she's like, from the sound of it, doesn't sound like you're open a lot just yet. So just keep on throughout your day. Try to walk and all that. And just, you know, try to get those contractions going.
I was like, okay, that's fine, Barbara. That's fine.
Just kidding, her name wasn't Barbara. I honestly didn't even get her name. We went throughout our day. I was just home the whole day, honestly. I didn't really do much. And I called, the first time I called that day, it was like in the morning, because I told you guys I was feeling them really badly already. And then I called them again, like in the afternoon. I told them, like, hey, like, I just called earlier and I was wondering if by any chance I can go to the hospital. And they asked me how far apart my contractions were, how am I feeling, like the contractions, if they're really bad. And by this time they were getting pretty intense. Yeah, I told them that they were pretty intense and how far apart they were. And they're like, have you gotten checked? And I was like, honestly, I haven't gotten checked. They haven't told me to go in, like, to check my cervix or anything. They're like, okay, well, if you want, you could come in and we can check to see how open you are and all that. And that's when they told me again, but if you're not open up to 6 centimeters, we will not put you into a room. We will just send you back home. So me and my husband went. The baby back here, she'd stayed with her grandmas and her uncle and aunt. and it was just me and my husband at the hospital. So they got us into this room, and well, I checked on obviously, and they're like, okay, we're gonna take you to a room. We're gonna hook you up onto this monitor thing. It's gonna monitor your baby's heartbeat and how far apart your contractions are. So I was there. I was sitting there, and the nurse came in, and she was just checking me, checking the baby's heartbeat. She said everything was fine. And they asked me, she asked me, did your water break? And I said, no, it has not. She's like, okay, so most likely if you're not opening up 6 centimeters or like at least 5, we're most likely just gonna send you home.
I was like, okay, that's you're the third person that told me that. Okay, I get it. And if I'm not, I'm gonna get sent home. I got it, clear. Thank you.
So the doctor comes in and she checks me and she's like, okay, you only open 1 centimeter. I was like, oh, okay. And she's all like, yeah, so what we're gonna do is just send you home. Just try to walk, take a bath, like try to get yourself moving so you can open up your cervix a little bit more. And if your water breaks, then that's when you should really come in, because then, yeah. But right now you're just 1 centimeter. I was like, oh my God. I was honestly like so over it. I was like, oh my God. Because the contractions, I could feel them. They were uncomfortable. I could still handle them, guys, but they were uncomfortable. Like I just didn't want that feeling to be there anymore. I just wanted it completely gone. I didn't want to do Samantha. I didn't want to, but I had to. What ends up happening? Me and my husband, we end up going home. We tell our moms, like, hey, they told us not yet because I'm only open 1 centimeter. Like, it's a no-go-go. My mom and my mother-in-law, they're like, okay, well, we need to take you out for walks and this and that. Like, they were like already thinking about what to do and all that shit. So me and my mom went out for a walk, and we were walking around the neighborhood, and by this time it was already getting like late in the evening, like around 3, 4-ish. I was honestly really uncomfortable walking, but these women were making me walk. I didn't want to. I just wanted to sit on my ass, but they wouldn't let me. My contractions were bad, but I was like, I know I'm not opening up enough. Like, I know it in my soul. I'm not opening up enough. And that's when my mother-in-law was like, okay, we're gonna make you a tea. And I was like, skirt. I don't like teas, guys. I hate tea. I hate tea with a passion. So when she said tea, I was like, no. I'd rather walk than drink tea. Thank you very much. She said that she drank this tea when she was pregnant with my husband. She said she drank this tea because she was also contracting, and that she went to the doctor. They told her that she wasn't opening up either, but she was feeling the really like intense like contractions. She said a friend of hers made her this tea, and that once like she drank it and like an hour passed and she started contracting a lot more. Like, they were intense. And then once she got to the hospital, there was no time to get an epidural. So everything just happened so quickly is what she told me. Like, everything, she just had a baby, and it was just like that. And then I was like, but what does it have? I asked her, what does it have? Because I honestly, I really don't like tea. The farthest I'll go as to drinking tea is nowhere, okay? Because I hate tea. What she told me, like, it has abuelita chocolate abuelita, you know, the little fucking... the yellow cart. I'll just put a picture somewhere right here. Chocolate abuelita. It has canela, and then it has cloves. These cloves, I don't know what kind of cloves they are, but you can just find them anywhere. You go to your supermarket and it says literally cloves. I was like, oh, okay. That doesn't sound too bad, but when I heard cloves, I was like, are we talking garlic cloves, or what is this? But then I was like, okay, maybe it won't be so bad because it's chocolate, so I'm mostly gonna just taste chocolate and cinnamon. I like cinnamon and I like chocolate, so I mean, it's not a big deal. So she made it for me, and I drank 1 cup, and then I drank another cup, so I had 2 cups of that shit. And my mom's like, okay, we need to go for another walk. And I was like, Mom, I don't want to go for a fucking walk. But we didn't. Me and my mom went with my sister. Oh God, that was like the worst walk of my life ever. Like, the contractions were so bad. It was so uncomfortable. I would have to stop every time I got a contraction. We get home, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a shower, a hot ass shower. I didn't want to take a bath. I wanted to take a shower. And I was in the shower. I was letting the hot water hit my back. So I get dressed. I put on my pajamas. And my contractions start getting a hell of a lot worse. My mom's like, why didn't you just call again and tell them, like, your contractions are way worse, and that you've been walking and all that shit? I'm like, but they're just gonna tell me you need to be up at 6, or else we're just gonna send you back home. I'm tired of hearing that. My husband also said, just call and tell them how you're feeling. So I called the Naval Hospital again, and I tell them, okay, my contractions are completely worse. Like, my back is hurting, It's really uncomfortable. My contractions are a lot more closer. And they asked me, did your water break? I was like, no, it has not broken. They're like, okay. And this nurse was a lot nicer. She's like, if you want, you can come in and we can check you to see how far, to see how open you are. And then we'll just go from there. And no, but this time she's like, if you're not open enough, what we'll do is just have you walk around the hospital until you open the right amount. Or if your water just ends up breaking. I was like, oh, thank you for not telling me I had to be 6. Or else they could just send me home. Thank you. So then we go to the hospital. And again, they hooked me onto the monitor where they were monitoring the baby's heart. And then they were also monitoring like how far apart the contractions were. The doctor comes in. This time it's a dude. And he checks me and he says, okay, you're only open 4 centimeters. I was like... In my head, I'm like, I know these bitches are going to send my ass home. I know it deep down inside, my Lord. I know they're going to send my ass home. And they're like, okay, well, you're only open 4 centimeters. What we're going to do is we're just going to monitor you a little bit longer. And then what we're going to have you do is just walk around the hospital. When I said that, I was like, the last thing that I want to be doing right now is to be walking. So the doctor leaves, the nurse comes back in, and she's just looking at the sheet that comes out of the machine. She's checking the sheet and everything. And as soon as she starts walking out of the room, no shit, my water just breaks. And I told her like, I think my water just broke. And she's like, are you sure? I was like, no, I'm not sure. I think I just peed myself. Yes, I'm sure. I was more than sure. And she lifts up the little garment or the little sheet that was covering my lower part of my booty. And she lifts it. She's like, oh, okay, yeah, it did break. And then she goes and gets the doctor, and he comes in, and they're like, okay, yeah, your water broke. What we're gonna do is we're gonna have you we're gonna check you into a room. I was like, yes, baby, we did it. We got a room. They gave me that little robe thing to change, you know, that you wear when you're in the hospital. So they take me to the room, and the nurse asked me, do you want an epidural? And I was like, yes, I really do. She's like, okay, well, they took out blood. And they're like, we're gonna go send this blood work to the lab, and then we're just gonna wait for the results, and then after we get the results, we'll give you your epidural. I was like, okay, that's fine. And so we're just there. It's just me and my husband still. And my husband tells my mother-in-law and my mom that, okay, she's in the room now. Like, they got her in the room, and she settled in. And my husband's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go get our moms so they can be here with us. I asked prior to them coming, like, if they were allowed and if my daughter was allowed. And they're like, yeah, that's fine. So he went to go get them, and they show up. My brother, my sister, my mom, my mother-in-law, and my daughter are there. And my contractions are just so bad. My mom's, like, trying to help me. She's rubbing my back. Like, gripping onto the railing that the hospital beds have. I was just squeezing that shit so hard. I felt like I was gonna fucking break that shit. I got this one contraction. I let it out. I yelled so loud. I scared my daughter out of the room. She literally booked it out of the fucking room. And my sister and my brother went chasing after her because who knows where she would have fucking turned and shit. And all the nurses and the doctor come in like, what's wrong? What's wrong? I was like, I can't hurt. It hurts. It hurts. I was telling them it hurts so bad. And they're like, do you want the oxygen mask? I was like, yes, yes. While I'm all in this pain, I was like, I need to push. So they put my legs up, and they're like, okay, on your next contraction, we need you to push as hard as you can. And they're like, okay, she's almost here. And then my mom's like, oh, I can see that, this and that. And then I pushed again, and she was out. She literally immediately started crying. And they put her on my chest and all that, and I was like freaking out. I was like, oh my god! The whole time she was on my chest, I was like, oh my god, oh my god. Oh, look at you. Oh my god, hi mama. That's what I was saying the whole time. It's crazy how like everything happens so quickly. I had the baby, they cleaned her, they weighed her, they did everything. They took out my placenta and everything. And after you give birth, obviously they take you to another room with the postpartum room. I don't know, something postpartum. So they took me to another room with my baby and my family and everything, and we were just there. And they bought the baby, and I was holding her. We were all excited and happy. I got pictures. I'll put them up here. And it was such a crazy, like, it was so crazy. And yes, I spent Thanksgiving at the hospital. We just came home. Everybody was here. My mom, my dad actually showed up too. Sorry, I completely forgot. Even though my parents are divorced and there's like a little tension between them, I hate that. But they were both there, which is just makes me happy. that's my whole story about giving labor to this little Samantha here. Miss Samantha May. This is a little baby. Okay. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm sorry if I yelled a lot. I was trying to make the story a little bit more exciting, not just be like, and yeah, and then the doctor told me that I needed to stay here and like I needed to go home after. See how boring that is? You're welcome. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.